Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. I was looking forward to today's ride for a couple reasons. One, there's going to be some pretty good climbers on it. And two, we were going to go over my benchmark climb where I do my testing, and which also is going to be the hill climb time trial that's going to be taking place in early December. On this part of the course that you're seeing now, we're climbing up to the start of the main climb in a brisk fashion. Once the course steepened after each pace setter subsequently pulled off the front, it came down to a teammate and myself chasing another rider whom you'll see later on to the start of the main climb. Turning your attention to the right in front of me, you see another one of my teammates on this ride. He's a big guy, flatlander type who's into Eddie Merckx style time trials. On these lower grades, you just can't get away from him. He has great technique and knows how to distribute his power through his entire spin. Now we're on the main climb. The rider that you're seeing in front of me, Mark, is a rider that my other teammate and I were chasing to get to the bottom of the start of this climb. Mark is a doubles rider. He's won and placed high in double centuries that he's done. My goal for this ride is to stay on his wheel all the way up. Right now we're about 3/4 mile into this 8-mile climb. You'll notice that he's not using a high cadence. Part of the reason may be because of the ride he did the day before. He did 151 miles with a little over 13,000 feet of climbing. I should be leaving Mark in my wake, but that's not the case. He's real strong, and I'm glad just to be on his wheel. While his spin is not perfect, it's not that bad. It definitely works for him. Again, he places high in double centuries. The question then becomes, can he do a little bit of tweaking to his technique so he can become more efficient, therefore using less energy to go a little faster? I'm nowhere near as strong as Mark. I have to dedicate time to not only building strength, but also to improving and refining my technique. If I only chose to focus on one of those endeavors, there's no way that I could reach my potential. After I started my comeback for my second AFib incident this past June, whenever I would work on climbing, I would use my 1129 and my compact crank. At about the third try, I finally made it all the way up this climb in an even fashion. After that, I started using my 1125 and started shifting my climbing workouts to on-the-bike strength work while using good spin technique. With respect to my spin technique, I was not just pushing down, then pulling through at the bottom as if I was scraping mud off the bottom of my shoes. I was scraping mud off the bottom of my shoes, applying pressure from 4 o'clock to, let's say, 8 o'clock to get over that 6 o'clock dead zone, and then kicking over the top from 10 o'clock to, let's say, 2 o'clock to get over that 12 o'clock dead zone. Returning focus to the screen, a little over 1 mile into this 8-mile climb, Mark jumped, and I just couldn't jump with him, and he pulled away. So now, I'm chasing after him. How I chased him was based on the work I've done up to now. I started off by doing 5-minute big gear intervals, followed by 5-minute easy spin. In the beginning, I can only do about 3 or 4 of these sets before I die out. Eventually, I could go longer. On my weekend group rides, whenever we did long, consistent climbing, I would eventually get to my 23, spinning that as fast as I was my 25, using that good spin technique. And sometimes I'd start to get to my 21. Whenever I get bogged down, I shift back down until I recovered a bit, and then I'd increase the RPMs as I went to the bigger gear and tried that again. Last weekend we had a hill climb time trial on a 7-mile climb with 2 big walls in it. That time I used my 1129. I spent a lot of time in my 26 and my 23. This was a perfect workout for me today. I was chasing a strong and fast rabbit. I got close to him a couple times where I thought I was going to catch him, but I couldn't maintain that. But I kept up my pressure. After about 6 miles, I started to weaken a bit. It was getting harder to maintain the faster cadence I was using good spin technique at a bigger gear, so I had to back off to a smaller gear more often. As it turned out, I never did catch him, but I did improve my time by over 3.5 minutes based on what I did 2.5 weeks previous. At the Hill Climb TT last year, I set my best time based on the previous 5 years. I was even 7 to 8 pounds lighter. This starts to increase my confidence that maybe I can break 48 minutes from this coming time trial. Regarding my weight, some of the extra pounds I'm carrying is due to the work I'm doing in the gym. I'm not so worried about losing weight right now as I am about gaining strength. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Remember, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.